just move on to the NFC South. What do you say? We're already talking about the New Orleans Saints.
All right.
This is actually a pretty interesting one for me, I feel, because we found out they cheated. Everybody was behind the New Orleans Saints to the point where, wouldn't you agree, it looked like they might be America's team, or they might be the America's team on the rise to replace the Dallas Cowboys. We were proud to see a city in our own country rebuild. We saw Sean Payton go to the New Orleans Saints as a head coach and persuade Drew Brees to come as a quarterback when he was let go from San Diego. They go to the Super Bowl. They built together a very good offense. The defense was pretty strong too, but all the weapons on the offense, they go on and on with Colston, at the time with Reggie Bush, all these other receivers, Devery Henderson. And now I'm not so high on the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to say it. They're not so saintly at all. I don't like a team that cheats. So that's why I'm not too crazy about Bill Belichick and the boys up in New England. And this guy, Josh McGowan, I believe, right? Or what was his name? Who was the head coach there for a little time for the Denver Broncos, and then who went back to New England and was hired back. And he was the biggest cheater of them all. I got a problem with that too. Who could do that in the workplace? The guy should be at McDonald's. And he wouldn't even be a manager there. He got caught cheating twice with two different teams. So my feelings about the New Orleans Saints, I really don't want to see them do that well. I think they need to get back an identity of being the humble team that is going to play hard, that is proud of their city, that has a lot of talent and has a lot of the right pieces around them, and they just go out there and they play hard and they do what they have to do, and they feel like they have America behind them and they're appreciative of that.
Well, I'll tell you, the Bounty Gate was what you're referring to, Joey. Apparently they had been warned by the NFL, which found out that they had a bounty system for essentially that said to the New Orleans players, if you knock this or that player out of the game from the opposing team, you will earn an extra so and so much money.
If I break Mark's leg, I get an extra $3,000.
$50,000.
If it's your left arm, yeah.
Bounty Gate.
Kids are going to Disney.
Now apparently, so the NFL told them, not last season, but the season before, we know you're doing this, it's illegal, stop it. And they denied it, big mistake, and continued to do it. So the NFL finally said, are you kidding? This is an insurrection. This is insubordination. And you will not get away with insubordination in the National Football League. So they cracked down.
Did you forget that we're captaining the ship?
That's right.
And there's something called the commissioner?
Who do you think is
and
running
he's
this
up
show
here, and you guys are right below us?
That's right, way below us. Way below us.
Capitons. All 32 of you, right?
So the NFL said, you're out of here. Head coach Sean Payton suspended for a year. Other players gave him... Roger Goodell came, he was the commissioner, of course, and he came in with very strong action. It was meant to send a signal to the rest of the league, I think, Joey, that this sort of nonsense would not be tolerated. I mean, you mentioned different forms of cheating that have been going on in the NFL, but that was one that was contributing directly to more player injuries, and this is part of Goodell's new push for player safety. They would like to have fewer players waking up, with brain injuries when they're 3 years after they retire, or getting knocked out by another vicious hit.
If they were cryogenically frozen.
Well, yeah, that would change.
There'd be less chance that happens.
Certainly. Now, we got to get Goodell on for the next program and just break him over the coals on this thing.
Yeah,
maybe he'll go for this.
I kind of like the way he does his hair.
Part of the player safety program. All right, so anyhow, Peyton's back. I think what we learned is that the Saints without Sean Payton were a mess. Their defense was among the worst in the league in every statistic you can imagine. They won the games that they won like 30-27. The games that they lost like 35-14. And
it was pretty much that lopsided.
They still had a great offense with Drew Brees and all those receivers. They're going to have a great offense, but they're not going to be competitive until they get their defense back. And hopefully for the Saints and the Saints fans, this will be the year that they do it.
Very well put. So
They've got a chance.
So you're saying those with Drew Brees jerseys, don't worry about it. He's going to be there for a while. The last thing that I'd say about the New Orleans Saints, and I think you made some really good points. There were two coaches 3 years ago that I felt out of the 32 teams I was most impressed with. One was Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the other is Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints. I think it's clear to some degree, obviously, with the lack of success and really the downtrodden record that the Saints had last year, that Mark is right. Sean Payton was a key piece to keeping that team together and moving them and motivating them in the right direction.